Okay, in this video we're going to do a quick walkthrough of the owner portal so you can familiarize yourself with it and know how to find the information you need because this portal has everything in it. Some of it's a little more intuitive than other sections though, so I'm going to walk you through it. First off, when you're going to start out, this dashboard is going to have a lot of the information that you can quickly get to. Things like bills though, the bills are just for the current period, so sometimes if you're looking for another bill that was already processed or from a later date, you can click on this square. I guess that's two squares on top of each other, and that'll allow you to drill down a little more. For the management fees, owner distribution, stuff like that, you'll see there is some historical data in here. But just to give you an example, let's click on the bills, and you'll see that'll pull up all the bills. Now we're looking at a filter range of 7/28/19 to 7/28/20, so that's everything from this year. You'll see once you drill down on some of these, there's different filter options. You could check any paid or unpaid bills. You could check a specific property or all the properties, or a specific vendor if you wanted to look up, some specific bill. This is a great spot for you to come in, and one source that's really transparent for us is that any bills that we pay, we're going to load up the invoice right here. We're going to give you a little description. So if you're more interested in a bill, what work was done, this is the spot for that. Great example. Let's go into one of these bills. So I just clicked on that bill, pulled up this sheet. In here, we're going to get a little more detail about it. Property, who the payee was, that's the company who did the work. And then we're going to have some of this internal information, just how we paid them. If we paid it through a card or through our bank account, it'll show up as debit instead of an exact check number. But some of the details are down here too, what the expense account was. So make ready is just, this was something that we were doing to prepare the unit to be rented. And then right here you'll see the actual receipt and or invoice. So we just pulled that up. We can see that that's paid. This doesn't have too much detail on it just because it's a lead inspection, and that passed. If this was an invoice from a contractor that had a bunch of work items in there, that would be in the same spot as well. But now you can do that with any kind of bills. And you'll see here there's other spots you can jump around, the different areas of the owner's portal. There's also a drop down here with basically the same thing. This is going to be more useful on mobile. Let's go back to dashboards. You will see, okay, this one is something that is a little frustrating to me, but I can't change because it's an internal thing in the system. We load all the monthly statements up, the owner statements, up into your portal so you can see them at all times, but they don't have a good description on them. So this here, combined reports, this is the owner statement. So owner statement for July, owner statement for June, and you'll see they all go back here. This one says combined reports. It would probably say your name or your property name if you just had one property. But again, it's not labeled well. It doesn't say that it's your owner's report, unfortunately, but just know that it's in that notes section. You can find it in there. You can also go and create custom reports or pull up any time period you want, but I'll get into that in a minute. So I've already clicked this and I've pulled up his owner statements. You see there's a couple properties here. I wanted to we'll look at this one. I just want to show you a quick breakdown of what you're looking at here. So one really important thing to note is this is only a snippet, for a short period of time within this date range here. So sometimes you might have to look at the previous owner statement or go in and create a custom report for a quarter or all year, whatever you want to look at to get a fuller picture, because we get a lot of questions about when they look at these statements, we get a little confused. Okay, well, why is the beginning balance this, or why did I get paid that? You just have to remember that this is a running total and a running cycle, and these reports are based on these date ranges. So we always process everything on the 10th. I think just nature of how the weekdays and weekends fell. The payment actually went through on the 12th because of the weekend, and then also went through on the 13th. Probably the same thing. that's something we don't have any control over. Just, whether the banks are open or not on the 10th when we start processing them really determines like when they will actually go through. So if you see these, the 12th, the 13th, or the 10th, they're all going to be about the same. But if you're missing something, you might want to just check the bank statement before that. You can get a better picture. So what we're looking at here, a beginning balance. This typically, if the account's completely cleared out, it's going to be 300 because we hold, you'll see down here, we hold a total reserve of 300. For this property right now, we are not holding a security deposit. We picked this up, rented, the owner moved all his properties over to us, and he had the security deposit, so we just left it with him for convenience for this tenant. But normally if there's a security deposit in there, you might see that as well down here. But most of these beginning bank balances are going to be $300. But in this case, since there's an 81.37 difference, that typically is going to mean that the tenant paid or processed something after our last pay cycle and before this pay cycle. So we might have paid the owners out on the 10th. Let's say they actually got that on the 12th. This tenant might have paid a water bill on the 15th or the 20th, and we've noted that, and we've cashed it and it's cleared, so it's noted on their bank account, but it hasn't been paid out to them yet. So you might see a difference there. Okay, rental income. Both of these line items are income. This property is a voucher tenant, so we break out the tenant's portion and the voucher programs portion separately. So that's what those two numbers are. They make up this, and this is basically going to be a running total that you can just add and subtract up. So another thing you will see is our management fee, whatever our management fee is on that property. You'll see right there. Sometimes this might include a leasing fee or any kind of onboarding admin fee. So check on some of those. You can check on those in another report. Maintenance. This was some maintenance work we did. A lot of times there'll be water and sewer. So for whatever reason, the water and sewer didn't cycle in this period. I think this one is a property where it's every 3 months, so we don't get it every month. In the city, it's every month. So you'll be looking at this. We pay the water and sewer on the behalf of the owner, and then the tenant repays you. So there are times if the tenant hasn't paid their portion of the water, but we've billed for it, you might see that there is no income here, but there is an expense here. So that's what that meant. We've paid a bill on your behalf, and it's on this system. Tenant hasn't reimbursed you for that yet. So oftentimes you'll see that hits on the next pay period. So that's just something to be aware of, and another example of how those statements tie together. And the reason you get that is some property management companies will wait a month to send out a statement, and it's honestly a lot cleaner on these owner statements, but you're waiting a month to get paid. So when we start out in business, most owners want to get paid sooner. So that's why we process payment as soon as we possibly can on the 10th and get that to you. So on your end, just know in exchange for a quick payment, you just have to do a little detective work with the previous months if you really want to get dialed in. Or you can create your own reports at the end of the month if you'd like as well. So going back up here, you're going to see those expenses. You see the income, expenses. That net total is going to be right there. You can see, here we go. Okay, so undeposited funds. So that 81.37 was money that we've received and hasn't cleared the bank yet as of this date. So that's what that's for. But that'll be subtracted out. And then down here you can see what was paid out to the owner on this. And then this was held as their reserve escrow. So that's the owner statements. Let's go back. I don't want to make this too long of a video for you. You can see your disbursements here. Just clicking this drop down, you'll see how much money you received and what the reference was. These NCH stands for NACHA. It's a back-end type payment. Management fees, you can click down here and see our management fees for each one. That's also in your owner statement, so that's not really something you're going to need to use that much. Something that might be interesting to you, though, is this report section. So you can drill down and get a lot more detailed reports than just your owner statement if you need to figure out something, or you want to step back and take maybe a 10,000 foot view on your property for the year instead of just the month. You can come in and do all this right in here. So What we normally send to you is an owner statement. But there's lots of other reports in here. You can see your P&L, see your balance sheet. You can do that by property or at total. You can change the date rate anywhere. So if you want let's say the first 3 months, first half a year, anything like that, you can do that right in these. I'm not going to get into them too much detail, but if you want to play around in there, you can. Contributions. I'm not sure if this is set up. Okay. So depending on if we have your banking information, we can set you up for owner contributions. So this would be, let's say there's an amount that's paid over the $300 escrow we keep. HVAC went up, and for whatever reason, that's probably a bit much, but we could do that. Let's say HVAC went up, and it was $4,000, and we coordinated with you, and you wanted to make a contribution instead of paying that vendor directly. Or if we're doing a bunch of make-ready work and we're handling it in-house, we'll tell you what it is. Then you can go in here, and let's say you're going to make a 1/3 deposit to get started. You can come right in here, go to the property, and just go ahead and make that contribution right there. History notes is where you saw your different reports. We'll also put any applicable data in there we think you might need. Excuse me. So if there's something major with the property that we think you should be alerted to, maybe a certain report, an inspection, something like that, we'll load that up there so you have that. Another spot, which is the first place you'll go, is documents to sign. So that's where you came in and signed your management agreement. If you haven't signed your management agreement yet, that is where you'll go to see that. Excuse me. And it also pops up on the dashboard. So if you do have something to sign, it'll be right here under your name. It says you got documents to sign, and you can click a button there. That is most of what you want. This little cog here is your settings. So if you want to change some of your account information. If you have multiple accounts, so let's say you have an LLC, and then you have let's say you have some properties in your name personally, we're going to want to separate that so that each gets its own 1099 and it's done properly, come tax time. So if you are in that situation and you want to use the same email, you'll see right in here, you'll see a drop down. So you'll have 2, 3, however many different LLCs or accounts you have, you'll see a drop down right there. And you can just change over to that and see the other section. So that's about it. It should get you most information. If you're looking for anything specific, just feel free to reach out, contact any of us, and we'll either steer you in that direction or let you know what's possible. Okay? I hope you have a great time with us, and I hope we can grow your business together. Thanks.